Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Greeley Area Chamber of Commerce, I want to welcome you to Common Grounds, where a lot can happen over coffee. My name's Jamie Henning, and I'm the president of the Greeley Area Chamber of Commerce, proudly representing over 700 businesses in the Greeley area. We work every day to do our level best to champion our business community, help you pivot, and keep your business moving ahead. We also want to take a moment to thank our Chairman Circle sponsors who support this platform and have allowed us to connect with over 30,000 followers. Thank you for your support. The Chamber is also proud to serve as the provider of tourism services for Greeley and Visit Greeley. Our mission is to promote our city and region through travel and tourism and to entice, accommodate, and engage our visitors. I'm joined by some tremendous community leaders and tourism champions this morning who will give you some insight into the process of promoting our city to our visitors. Our focus today is tourism, the purest form of economic development, the world's largest industry, if you didn't know it, and one of the fastest growing and still one of the most impacted by COVID, so we want to talk about it this morning. This industry is critical to the recovery effort because through it, other sectors of our economy can be revived. It's big business and an important industry to each of our communities across the U.S., which guarantees its survival and also merits our attention. I believe it's time to rethink our plan, forge forward, and double down to support this industry. It's the front door to our community and in many ways the heart. In 2019, travel and tourism's impact accounted for $8.9 trillion in contribution to the world's GDP, 330 million jobs, so 1 in 10 around the world, $948 billion in capital investment, improved quality of life for our citizens, increased local tax base, investment, economic impact, shall I go on? Tourism's really important, and additional jobs in support of retail services in our downtown area. Everyone on Common Grounds today plays a vital role in rebuilding our tourism economy. They're funders, promoters, communicators, marketers, attractions, community leaders, and they're going to help us take the next steps forward to keep Greeley top of mind for our visitors. If you're watching the show today, I also want you to know you play a role just like our guests on the show today in tourism. Invite your friends and family to visit Greeley. Show them the attractions that make us an incredible community. Encourage them to shop, eat, and show them a great time in Greeley. You are making your city better each time you do it. If you're part of a group, encourage them to host a meeting in Greeley. If you are a business, make sure to encourage them to stay in Greeley. Greeley is lucky to have each of our guests this morning and champions that are in their corner. And today I'm going to introduce you to all of them, and we're going to do a quick coffee check before we get started. So Mayor John Gates, thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Amy Dugan, Director of Visit Greeley, my next door neighbor. Hey, nice, good.
Good morning.
Good morning. Michelle Kempema, Executive Director of the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. Michelle.
Good
Hey,
morning.
good to see you. Kelli Johnson, Director of Communication Engagement for the City of Greeley. Hey, Kelli.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Bianca Fisher, Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority. Bianca, good to see you as well.
I got my coffee ready.
Excellent. Excellent. And then Jennifer Finch, Weld County Communications Director. Thanks for joining us, Jen.
Absolutely. Good morning. Got my coffee.
Okay, good. This is the most important thing of the morning here. Okay, good deal. Good deal. Here we go. All right. Well, welcome everyone. We're so happy to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us if it's your first time. And if you're on each time like Mayor John, thank you for joining us again. So we're ready to get some updates this morning. We're going to go ahead and get those started. Our first guest today is our beloved Mayor, John Gates, first elected mayor in 2017 and winning re-election in a landslide. He's our 49th mayor for the city of Greeley and one of our closest partners. Also, before I turn it over to John, I want to mention he serves on our Visit Greeley Advisory Board. And because our focus is on tourism today, I want to thank he and the city of Greeley for being our largest supporter of our services to visitors who come here to see Greeley. Thanks, John. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you first. Welcome.
Thanks, Jamie, and good morning, everybody. A special good morning to the esteemed panelists that I have the pleasure of appearing with this morning. All these women of power in our community, I'm not sure how I squeaked into this panel, but that being said, I will trudge on forward. So, you know, when we speak of the effects of COVID-19, which we do every day, unfortunately, tourism is an area that has really taken a beating in our community. Jamie mentioned the city's sponsorship of many endeavors, and unfortunately, fairly early on, we had to cut back the funding on Visit Greeley because it's funded by lodging tax. And as you all might guess, lodging tax dropped off to virtually nothing for a while. And hopefully that's coming back to the degree that we'll be able to beef that back up. But with summer cancellations like the Greeley Stampede, the Blues Jam, dog shows, and the list goes on, things are just not the same around here. Not only have they changed the scope of our community, but they have been very impactful to our local businesses, our restaurants, the city's budget, which isn't the biggest concern, but we're certainly all feeling this. Hopefully lodging at our hoteliers is coming up a little bit. It's not going to increase quite to where we want it to without all those events that routinely fill our hotels. But we recognize that the economic impact to our businesses and restaurants has been pretty drastic. That being said, we need to do all that we can do in our community to mitigate the effects of COVID-19. And we all want our lives back, and probably we have to do whatever we need to do to get this virus out of here. We have been fortunate in that we've been able to get most city services back open, at least partially. Our COVID statistics are looking good. We look at those every day, and of course we all look at different things with numbers, but you know, my barometer is tied obviously to mortality rates, most important thing, but the positivity rate, and those things are looking really good. So are the number of individuals in our city that are hospitalized. The last thing that we ever wanted to do or want to do moving forward is to overload our hospitals. As of last evening, we had 4 people in our 2 hospitals in Greeley with COVID. So that's 4 too many, but we're doing well in the community. I'm certainly not naive, nor is any of the rest of us, to the fact that there could be a surge, and we don't want that to happen because that'll set us back more substantially. But I think that there's been a lot of collaboration, certainly in the city, to make things better for our business and restaurateurs, and the ability to allow restaurants to expand their footprint appears to be working pretty well. Bianca and Michelle spend a lot more time downtown than I do, obviously by virtue of what you do, but my wife and I were downtown this weekend and did note a number of people that were outside dining and having libations. So we're moving forward. Our budget hasn't taken quite as big of a hit as we thought that it would. Nonetheless, it has been quite impactful. So we will move forward and try to continue to give all the services to our residents that we'd like for them to do to enhance their quality of life. And hopefully we're moving forward through this. That will, of course, mean that tourism will improve as well as our community improves. So I think I'll stop there, Jamie, and defer to my colleagues.
Well, we thank you again for being on, and we thank you for everything you've done. You know, I could mention so many different ways the city has really pivoted to help business, including that downtown area. So thank you for everything you and your team are doing to keep us safe, and also to move things ahead for our business community. We are looking forward to what's next. So our next guest is Amy Dugan, Director of Visit Greeley. Welcome, Amy. For all our potential visitors watching the show, we're in beautiful northern Colorado. We're conveniently located 1 hour from Denver International Airport, and you can see the beauty of the Rockies from our front door of our city. Amy has been leading our team to promote our incredible city, your Colorado hometown, filled with art, entertainment, and good people as a tourism destination. She has also been working with me to develop a new strategic plan and website to meet our visitors digitally and in the new spaces we're going to find them. So Amy, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you and let you tell us what you have in store. Thanks for joining this morning.
Well, good morning, everyone. And as Jamie said, being the Visit Greeley director, I have the privilege to champion my hometown every day. Amazing, amazing position to be in. So as we've said, we're funded by the city. And when you think about it, Greeley, when we're talking to our visitors, we tell them how perfectly situated Greeley is for dropping their bags here, going and doing some day trips, but always coming back to Greeley for a friendly hometown, feel. And we love the fact that Greeley is welcoming to our visitors, that we enjoy having them here, that when they come to our city and they're in our restaurants or our breweries or at our museums, and they actually can meet the owners, the directors, we have time to stop and talk with our folks. So one of the things we always hear from our travel writers is they're so surprised that the chef will come out and talk to them from the restaurant, or the director of the train museum, Michelle, will come out and visit with them. And it just adds that special quality. As Jamie said, I mean, how better could it be? We have access to 3 major interstates. You know, Denver is just 50 miles, Cheyenne's just a little bit away. The mountains are right there for us. Our attractions, our events, all of that. So I go into my pitch automatically talking about how great Greeley is. It's just an automatic thing. My family gets tired of me doing that in our group. So what I wanted to talk about today a little bit is our own economic impact. Jamie mentioned how important tourism is. And obviously within Greeley, we're not hitting the billions of dollars, but tourism and attractions and people coming to town for conventions and meetings, things like that can bring as much as $24 million to our city, which is a lot of money when you go back and look at the economic impact. And that includes things like, you know, UNC's graduations that we will give visitor packets to, and the dog shows. Yep, we have dog shows in Greeley, but we're one of the top, I should say, dog show locations in all of the country. And this year, even though most of the big dog shows have canceled, we still have 4 coming to town in August and September, and it will bring visitors to our city, and they'll enjoy it, they'll eat at our restaurants, and they'll go back and they'll brag about how beautiful our Island Grove Regional Park is. Biggest event like Stampede is not included in that $21 million. So that is other things. We have baseball tournaments, softball tournaments, volleyball tournaments, all kinds of things to do. And then we have our great events. And John and Jamie have both mentioned the Blues Jam, Arts Picnic, Monster Day. So in times when we don't have a COVID impact, those are things that bring people from all over the country. This weekend, we should have been, or on the weekend of the 22nd, we should have been enjoying Monster Day. And of course, we promote Monster Day wherever we go. Here's Greeley the Gremlin. He's our guy. And this year we've had to take our Monster Day virtual, and that's what we've done for everything. The Blues Jam became a virtual concert. Monster Day will be virtual this entire month with different events. We've talked about how it all started. So we want to make sure people understand, yes, COVID hit, and it's not been pleasant, but you know, we pivot, we keep running, and we keep promoting Greeley because ultimately, you know, we're here for you. And last year we welcomed almost 500,000 guests to Greeley. So again, Visit Greeley's job is to give them their welcome bags, to help them with post and pre-event planning, to connect them to venues, to make sure they have a speaker. Sometimes we call on our mayor, John Gates, to be one of their keynote speakers. He'll go and he'll welcome people at different conventions. So it's great fun that way. And the coronavirus did have an impact on our hotels. Very luckily, not one hotel in Greeley closed. I mean, we had big hotels around the state were closing. Not one hotel in our city closed. We dropped all the way down to a 30% occupancy, but interestingly enough, Greeley leads the occupancy rates for Colorado. We're always in at least the top 10, and that's with people like, you know, the mountain resort towns and Denver and Colorado Springs. And we're always leading for Northern Colorado. So folks call up and want to know why we have great stats, and we just smile and say because our residents and our hotels are the friendliest in town, and they're the front door to our community. They welcome everybody with a wonderful smile. So we're always proud of our lodging partners. We do things like, you know, our hotel rocks, and we keep them going. We have innkeepers meetings with them to track them. So we love to find out statistically where people who are coming to Greeley visit from. And Sarah Schell, our Visit Greeley Associate Director, always is looking at where people are inquiring from. And right now, besides our own Coloradoans who, as we all know, people are saying, I'd rather do road trips. I think I want to go to a friendly city. I want wide open spaces. Not going to jump on an airplane, probably not going to do a cruise this year. They're not going to go to the big cities necessarily. Statistics are showing that people want to come places like Greeley. If you think about it, our Cougar Trail, Pawnee Buttes, all the things that you can do in town. We have parks every time you turn around a corner. There are places to go. We can play Frisbee golf, things to do while you have folks in town. So COVID did not stop us. And just to give you an idea of everybody who checks in looking for information about Greeley, we have Texas, Illinois, Missouri, Florida, Kansas, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and all of a sudden Maryland is looking at us. So we're thinking that's really pretty fun that we are pretty national. People are looking for us, and they're wanting information about what to do when they come to Greeley. So to Jamie's point, we're currently working on a refresh of our website to make it much more easy for our visitors to navigate. And we're coming up with a new marketing plan so we can connect deeper with the city and their My Greeley campaign. And we're looking to turn Greeley into everybody's Colorado hometown. So right now, that's it from Visit Greeley. So much more going on, but we have more guests. So I think I'll turn it back to you, Jamie.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelli. I promise to. Oof. You all hear that?
Yeah.
Just a little Darth Vader coming on. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our next guest, Michelle Kempema. Michelle is Executive Director of the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. It's a mouthful, Michelle, I'll get it out. Where a miniature world of wonder awaits, just newly reopening tomorrow to visitors again. So our timing is good, yay. Michelle, you already know this, but this is one of my brother Elliot's favorite places, not just in Greeley, but maybe on earth. He will be so excited to come back. It's also the Visit Greeley program's next door neighbor and the Chambers. So we're so glad to have you there. One of our favorite attractions to promote and one of the top Yelp destinations in Greeley. Michelle is also chair of the Visit Greeley Advisory Board. So Michelle, tell us a little bit about what you have in store for visitors when you reopen tomorrow. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for having me. We did a soft opening last weekend with our members to try our brand new ticketing system. What happened to us, and the reason we're a little late opening, is with the capacity issue of counting people coming in. We have so many out of state, out of town people that show up. And so we had to install a whole new ticketing system that we never had before. So that took a lot of time to pick one out, get the equipment, get it installed, train the staff. So it took us about an extra month to open just to get that done. But so we did it with our members last week and it worked great. We've made a little bit different choice, I think, than some other places because we get those walk-ins. Our capacity is 50, but we're only selling 20 tickets online because our mission is to educate, inspire, and bring joy to all ages. And we don't want anybody who shows up to not be able to come in. So we are under capacity on our ticket sales so that if someone did stop by from out of town, which they did last weekend, even though it was members only, we actually had a couple come from Indiana. It was his birthday and that's what he wanted for his birthday. So they drove out here just to knock on our door and hope we were open. And we were, so we let him in. We changed a lot in here. Everything that was touchable had to go away. But we have so many things you can look at, and we added new exhibits so that there are things in those places where those kids' play areas were. Our first visitor was a family with children, a member family, and the kids were so sad the tables were away. So we actually had some new things that we can run, and our volunteers are going to run those trains for kids. So we've had to really shift what we do for the visitor to maintain that, that awesome magical visitor experience. Our gift shop is not one you can walk in anymore. You window shop so that things aren't touched. And so we've done all those safety features. I feel like we went above and beyond on safety. One comment that I had, and so here's the positive side of COVID and dealing with lower numbers, is a visitor came to me yesterday or Sunday and said, I've never had so much time to really just explore, because there's like people and there's stuff, and it felt like it was just my world when I was here. And so I guess that's the plus side, is that you'll get a different visitor experience coming now than you might in 5 years from now or you've had in the past. And so that was a positive takeaway that I took from this. We also have some new trains, and we've tried to do some new things to be different. So I will talk to you a little bit, bouncing off Amy's Visit Greeley talk. We had motor coaches planned for June and July, and that's 55 people together on a bus that come. And there was one group that said, we want to come anyway. And so then they had 10 people, and then they had 5, and then they had 3. And they just switched to a van, and they came with 3 people. And they were so thrilled to be able to do that. And so I think things, even those big groups, are shifting smaller, they're changing. So it was neat. And road trips, we have a lot of people that knock on the door here. Hey, we're here from somewhere in America. So, but thank you for having me. I'll send it back to you.
Absolutely. Adaptability is everything, right? And you and your team have done an amazing job. I watched you come out right away with some great videos and some kits for kids. And yeah, kudos to you. You've done a great job with it. So thanks for being on, Michelle.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Kelli Johnson, Director of Communication and Engagement for the City of Greeley. Kelli joined the city's team, I believe, just 2 years ago. We were just talking about that, and has had her hands full during recent months. She's led the city's communication on crisis management during a pandemic and continues to be a leading voice on community marketing and branding efforts. She's an important supporter and partner in our Visit Greeley efforts, and this is her first time on the show, so welcome, Kelli. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jamie. Yes, not quite 2 years, about a year and a half actually, and it has been a whirlwind experience. So nothing like a pandemic to swing you right into your new job. Thanks again for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. As both Mayor Gates and Amy mentioned, Greeley is a major partner in the Visit Greeley efforts. Of course, from the city of Greeley, you know, the city council has had a strategic priority for image and branding for more than 7 years. In fact, for 6 long years, we had a very strategic campaign, our Greeley Unexpected image campaign, that really promoted Greeley and the heart of Greeley, the things that make Greeley our community, the experiences that people can enjoy, the activities, the culture, the entertainment. And coming off the heels of that, actually just this year, we made a pivot in our campaign, which really fosters that tourism because it is aiming to increase our image as a community, as a city. It aims to ensure that people see Greeley for the amazing community that it is. And I was so eager to join the city and be a part of the image campaign, now called My Greeley, which launched about 5 weeks before our friend coronavirus. And My Greeley is now the new priority for the city. It enhances the city's image by asking each of us, each of you that are watching the show, to recognize what makes Greeley your Greeley, my Greeley, our Greeley. It's a grassroots effort to share the stories and the experiences and the moments, the things that we learn, the things we enjoy. I encourage you to visit the mygreeley.com website. It's a great platform for sharing your story, for encouraging others to see Greeley through your eyes. And I say it's grassroots because the essence of the campaign is each of us talking about our Greeley community, not in the sense of you live here, but maybe you enjoyed an experience here. So Michelle, maybe some of your visitors that are tuning in will have an opportunity to get on that My Greeley website and share their story about Greeley. Of course, focusing on Greeley's image and tourism and bringing people here to our fine community is a priority for our city council. I think that the efforts over the last several years, our partnership with Visit Greeley, which is really encouraging people to see Greeley for the unique community that it is, unique in terms of culture and entertainment, learning experiences, educational opportunities, agribusiness, entrepreneurship. I think these are all the things that have contributed to Greeley recently being recognized as one of the most metropolitan cities. We look at factors in that, from economic development to jobs to education opportunities. And so for people tuning in, tourism and from the city side of things, you know, we're looking to make sure that people recognize Greeley for the strong community that it is. Our city council is committed to making this a priority. As Mayor Gates mentioned, we did take a hard hit. Coronavirus impacted us through our lodging tax, which is what funds our image campaign. And that's been difficult for us to adjust. We've had to make some pretty hard choices. But the truth is that without promotion, we can't continue to carry on the message about this community. And that's what we want to do. That's what our council is committed to doing, is really just growing and enhancing that image of our community and encouraging people to come visit us. So, you know, we, like many other cities and businesses, we took that hit and we rolled with the punches. And Mayor Gates is right, it did have an impact on us. But again, you know, as a priority for our council, we want to encourage people to visit Greeley. We want to encourage people to enjoy our outdoor space. We want to encourage people to recognize the moments and experiences that they can gather by visiting our fine community. And so I'm really pleased with the Pivot campaign that ironically launched just before coronavirus. So again, I just welcome people to take part in and embrace that My Greeley campaign. Whether you're a local resident or someone visiting our community, this is your Greeley, our Greeley, my Greeley, and it's really an opportunity and a campaign that really drives growing this community by each of us embracing and telling our story around what makes it unique for me, what makes this my community, and what makes it your community. So we welcome you, and we hope to see you in the future.
Awesome. It's clear to me that we have a bunch of wonderful communicators on this call and the right people in the seats to tell our story and move things ahead. So thank you so much, Kelly. Our next guest is Bianca Fisher, Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority. She has been a downtown champion and most recently a close communication partner on COVID resources for our businesses. She is a significant community marketing partner, assisting keeping our downtown vibrant and the front door open and welcoming to our visitors and guests. She and her husband, Neil, I should also mention, help with one of our attractions with their business Weld Works and help to keep Greeley top of mind with visitors when it comes to our brew culture here in Northern Colorado. Bianca, thanks for being on the show today. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thanks for having me, Jamie. It's been actually really fun listening to each of you, and I just have to say I miss all of you. I'm reminded once again of why I love Greeley so much. I have to say I am not a Greeley native, and there's something that is just so rich about this community that, you know, the second I got my degree, I thought I would go, and yet here I am, you know, 15, 16 years later. So I'm just honored and proud to be a part of the community and working alongside you wonderful community partners. So as Jamie mentioned, I have the fortunate pleasure of leading our downtown organization with the very capable and talented, mighty but small team, Allison Hamling and Karen Baumgartner. We are a small team, but the work that we do is absolutely the heart of tourism. Downtown Greeley is, along with, you know, many other communities, downtowns are the heart of community. It's where a lot of our small independent businesses are, and it's really where we go for unique experiences. I mean, the Model Railroad Museum is right in our downtown and one of our great tourist attractions that we have. But really, it's the place that, you know, when friends and family are visiting, it's the place to showcase and enjoy. And really, our role at the DDA is to shape and create these experiences. So things like, we look at tourism from everything, not only just our events, which I will get to, but things like art. We partner a lot with our art commission, who is phenomenal in creating murals. I don't know, hopefully everyone watching the show has checked out our art alley. We have amazing pieces of art. There's a musical hopscotch that you can actually dance and run across on the ground and create your own music. The Uptown Art Trees, that has been such a great initiative from the city as you drive along 8th Avenue to see the awesome 30+ pieces of artwork. We are a beautiful community and we have a rich, creative community. And so I'm proud that our district, we are a part of the Greeley Creative District, the downtown area and the University District. And we are one of the few in the state actually to have this designation. So that's really something to celebrate in our community. Other things downtown, I mean, everything from lighting. We have chosen kind of in a crazy fashion because it's certainly a maintenance nightmare, but we light our trees year round and just create an atmosphere that is beautiful, that's safe, that is inviting. We have over 100 planters that are professionally planted in the summertime. We think about all of these little things, the lights, the flowers, the art, the bike racks, all of these pieces create that experience, create that environment that is welcoming to our tourists. And in the way that I view tourism, certainly out of state, in state, and even within Greeley, I sometimes love seeing the kind of micro tourism. We love to think about ways, what is it, you know, if you're living out west or you're new to Greeley, what is it that you would love to see downtown and do downtown? So obviously we have had to pivot because of COVID. Normally we're enjoying a full summer worth of Friday Fest, which was really difficult for us. Friday Fest has become such a beloved community event, and we see thousands of people come downtown listening to live music in the sun, you know, kids chasing the bubbles and creating chalk art. And it's truly such a community experience and gem. And unfortunately, we lost that this year. And so just like Amy and Michelle have mentioned, you know, having to pivot and working on virtual events. But not only that, another lens that we've really looked at is we had a great community member reach out to us and say, hey, we'd love to do a virtual reality tour of downtown because we love downtown, we love your businesses, and we recognize that some people maybe aren't comfortable quite yet, but maybe they want to see it and still be able to shop and support the downtown businesses. So they just recently launched that a couple weeks ago, and we're getting that launched onto our website to help connect people with that. The other thing we've done is create an opportunity that you can see all of the outdoor art. If you're learning, if you're just looking to see what kind of art is downtown and who created that awesome mural in the alley, or gosh, who was the sculptor of that piece? Really having it a map so you could actually go do your own self-guided art tour downtown now. We've also worked with, this was a couple years ago, a company called Let's Roam, and you can do a scavenger hunt downtown. So these are activities, again, that don't necessarily take a lot of event planning and orchestration, nor do they, you know, involve hundreds of thousands of people. Well, okay, hundreds of thousands, that might have been an exaggeration, but hundreds and thousands of people that maybe we typically see. And for us too, I mean, we have Oktoberfest that we normally are gosh, in the throes of planning for right now. And we've had to pivot that, and you'll see a press release coming out likely today. We'll be moving that onto the plazas in a very small form and fashion just to celebrate. We want to honor the heritage of Oktoberfest. And if you don't know this, fun fact, but Greeley is home to a lot of Germans from Russia. And that's why it's been such a neat cultural, but also fun, just celebration of the great craft breweries and food and fare in our area. So keep your eyes out. We'll be getting a little bit more information, but again, a little bit more low key, just we want to support our businesses and our bars and our restaurants downtown. So just want to run through a few things again without those events, but we are so fortunate in downtown Greeley to have amazing, amazing venues like our DoubleTree Hotel and Conference Center. We've had our DDA board meetings there, and they've done a phenomenal job of creating space and safety measures and kind of adapting as well. They did hey, are you tired of working from home? Come, you know, work in one of our, you know, office spaces. And they've been really smart and open and wonderful. Venues like the Moxie Theater and Zoe's and the UCCC and the Rec Center and the Ice House. And our beautiful Lincoln Park. I mean, my goodness, we are so fortunate to have so many assets that are such a draw for our community. I will mention too, a positive of COVID. I personally started biking. I'm home today, but our offices reopened, decided to start biking to work more often. And there is a straight connection to our Pooter Trail right into downtown. And what amazing community asset that is too. And I don't think it's been mentioned yet, but the farmers market, gosh, we are fortunate to have an indoor winter farmers market and an outdoor summers market, and it's wonderful downtown. You know, if you're looking for unique gifts, fun finds, we have amazing retailers like Warm Hugs Mixes and Gifts and Blush Boutiques and accessories with the flair and Brooklyn's Finds Designs. The list goes on and on. I'd be remiss, you know, to capture them all. And then great dining. I mean, from the best Mexican to Indian, to African, to pizza, to, you know, Italian and Caroli's. And I'm going to tell everyone the best kept secret in Greeley. If you're looking for the best dessert in town, go to Santermo's and get their giant cookie with a big mound of ice cream. So there's just a fun little downtown tip. It's my all-time favorite. So certainly lots more. And certainly, gosh, we can't forget the drinks. If you're looking for great handcrafted, you know, locally brewed, distilled drinks, look no farther than downtown. We've got Tower 56 and Bricks and Green Earth Brewing and Syntax and Weld Works. And we just truly, I could go on and on. I'm going to cut myself off, but I just want to say that we truly could not have such an amazing community without these entrepreneurs that put it out there. They put it on the line every single day. Our community partners like the city and the chamber. you know, the investors who have given of their resources to build amazing new amenities like our DoubleTree Hotel and like the Maddie Apartments. I mean, the amount of community investment in downtown has created and made downtown the way for such a great tourist destination. So I just want to thank each of you for all of the work that you do. Really, downtown Greeley is the place to be. COVID or not, we are here and we're ready to be back in person though. Virtual events are great. We long for and are ready for just those in-person experiences to enjoy again soon, hopefully.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bianca. If that didn't get you excited to come to Greeley, I don't know what will. It just reminded me of all the places I'm excited to visit as well. And we have a lot of incredible people. And I think approachability is one of the definite assets of Greeley. I could literally walk to anyone's office on this call today, and we'll look forward to doing so. But there are so many incredible businesses who really bolster Greeley and make it special. So yeah, thank you for highlighting a bunch of those. Thanks for being on the show today. Our final guest, certainly last but not least, is Jennifer Finch. Thank you for joining us, Jennifer. She is the Weld County Communications Director. Jennifer sits on our Visit Greeley board and gives great perspective of the larger voice of Weld County. She manages social media sites and brand development, so she fits right in with the crew on this call promoting Greeley. She also manages Discover Weld, which promotes great people and places and events throughout Weld County. So please help me welcome Jennifer. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jamie. It's so good to see everybody. I'm with Bianca. I miss our in-person meetings. I miss seeing all you guys, but I'm glad to be part of this. For people who don't know, the idea for Discover Weld was initiated in 2011, and the Board of Commissioners at that time were involved in some economic development planning that was occurring regionally, and they took an idea that stemmed from that and wanted to localize it to not just Northern Colorado as a region, but to Weld County. And that was to really promote all the great people, places, and things here in Weld County, which traditionally, overall, Weld County hadn't really had an opportunity to toot its own horn, if you will. And so they really wanted to showcase that this is a great place. I think, as you can tell on this call, Weld County is full of people who love where they are, and the community is amazing, and certainly you see that in Greeley, and you see that across all of our municipalities in Weld County. So in 2012, the framework was built for a website, and that's when I came on board. And the website launched, and it's been plugging along, and now we have several social media platforms as well: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. The website itself has been visited by people from every state and from 98 countries. And along with Amy, we sit and look and try and figure out what in the world do people in this location, what drew them to look at our sites. And so it's been really fun to share the story of Greeley and Weld County through my broad umbrella platform, which is to highlight all of our municipalities and all of our attractions in the county. The goal of Discover Weld, there are multiple goals, but really it's to highlight the beauty and the communities that are here. And not just as a place to visit, we do want people to come and visit, but this is also a great place to raise your family. It's a great place to work. And we want this to be a resource for people who, whether you're looking to take, you just want to get away from the day, from the metro area, and you just want to take a day trip, or maybe you have a company that's looking to relocate, and why should they locate here? Why should their employees live here? So I work closely with Upstate Colorado as well to provide resources to them. They are the numbers people. They are the tax incentive people. They're everything I am not. I am words and pictures. And so it ends up being a pretty good partnership on how we can help sell the whole package of Weld County. So I get the pleasure to meet and talk with all kinds of people. When it comes to tourism, I think the most fascinating part that I've learned in my time working on Discover Weld is you really have to start local, and you have to get people to understand. Obviously, you see the passion on this call of people for their hometown, for Greeley, and that's fantastic. But we have a great county too. So I always feel like I'm this yeah but person in our meetings. because you see this passion throughout the county. And I was surprised when I started how few people knew what else was out in the county. And so I really took it as a challenge to first kind of have our own residents become our own ambassadors of this county, and to not be afraid, for lack of a better word, to talk about how great it is. And we have a lot of wonderful things here. Amy mentioned the Pawnee Buttes. That's probably one of my favorite places in the county. Very peaceful. I always, when I go up there and the wind is blowing and there's miles of just open country, and I think about the people who homesteaded, and I always ask myself, why here? You know, why here? And they were strong, amazing people. We have the beautiful Poudre Trail, which connects Greeley to Windsor and goes on into Larimer County. We have a state park here in Weld County. If you are looking to get out and enjoy the outside without driving a long ways, it's a half hour from Greeley to go down to St. Vrain State Park. We have the world's largest and oldest large carnivore sanctuary right here in Weld County. Again, just amazing, passionate people. So it's been really fun to share those stories, to meet the people in this county, and to put them out on a platform so that other people can experience all the great things that we have here too. Looking at my notes, I'm sorry, I'm the only one who has to stop and do this. You guys are so good at what you're doing. But one thing I did want to touch on when it comes to Discover Weld is the partnerships. And you all are my favorite, but two of my most favorite, Amy and Michelle, we get to work on so many projects together, which I think is fantastic. And that's been something that I think has been really beneficial for all of us, is this collaboration that we have, whether it's the grants that Visit Greeley goes and gets, and then allows the county to come and chime in on how we can develop projects, the brochure that we recently worked on the tourism project. And there's been a real appreciation that, you know, rising tide lifts all boats. And while we have communities here in Weld County who might not think of themselves as tourist destinations, they can still benefit from tourism, and we need to help them do that. So if you are taking a tour of the forts, the historic forts in Weld County, and you come up 85, which is actually Trapper's Trail, you may stop and have lunch in Fort Lupton before visiting that fort. And then as you go up to Platteville to visit the fort there, maybe you stop and get gas. And tourism touches our communities in a lot of different ways. And so it's been really fun to work with Visit Greeley to find out how we can incorporate those communities who may not otherwise feel like tourism is their thing, and help show them how it can be and help support them in that way. So Discover Weld, I wish I could do it 24/7, but I love that the county is supportive of it. And like you guys, we are also looking at a new website, a new CMS platform. So I'm really excited about that as well. So I'm glad to be part of this group, and I'm glad for this part of my job. And I just love telling the story of Weld County.
Thanks so much for being on, Jen. You know, I will say, in the way that you talk about everyone participating, every single person on this show and in every community has friends and family. And people don't realize this, but one of the biggest drivers, you know, if you grow your population, friends and family, tourism grows too, right? So a lot of it comes back to just that word of mouth, which makes everyone involved in the process, not just the promoters on the call. No matter how big or small city you are, you can participate and certainly have things that you love. When I listen to everyone on this call talk today about what they love about the place that they spend their time, everyone has their favorites. So that leads us kind of into our first question for today, actually. And some of you have mentioned this already, but if you had to limit it down to one or two, this is going to be hard for a bunch of you. When you have friends and family visiting, what is considered your can't miss? When they come here to visit. And I know each of you are going to have different experiences here. Some of you are more foodies, some of you are more arts and culture. So if you had to limit it down, what would be a can't miss for you, or that you can inform all of us when we have friends and family visit? So I'm going to pitch that out to the group.
So just to jump in and talk?
Jump in and talk, absolutely.
So being a native, it's so fun. I mean, I love our parks, and those are some of the things I can't miss. And when we have friends in town, going over to Island Grove and seeing Avon's Village, which is such a unique playground out there and making sure we get to bittersweet. And Glenmere is where I actually, as a kid, grew up. It was only 3 blocks from the house when we first moved to town. And, you know, back in those days, I could walk up there with my friends and we could run all over that place by ourselves. I don't think parents let kids do that anymore, but I spent so much time at Glenmere. So I'm an outdoor park person. Get on my bike and ride the Pooter Trail, but I also have to go to the museum and I have to be downtown and I have to go out to Centennial Village. Okay, that's more than 2.
It's going to be hard. You can go for more than 2.
Jamie, I'll take it from there from Amy, and I'll just say, you know, I was thinking about this question, and I thought, what would be the one thing? And I've been in Greeley for a long time, like Bianca. Came to school to go to the University of Northern Colorado, and then I just never left. So I'm happy to be here, and I can't put it on 1 or 2 or even 3 things. I will say that Amy described probably what's my go-to, which is it's an experience. It's not one thing. It's not that I love a restaurant or the restaurants or the park or a museum. It's that I love the variety of experiences and the culture and the diversity that happens right here in my community. And for a long time, you know, when people would ask, oh, how come you settled in Greeley? It was a variety of factors. It was family life. It was quality of life. It was outdoor entertainment. It was educational opportunities. So for me, it's not one thing. I would just reiterate the fact that this community, my community that I love, this Greeley that I love, is about the rich experience that you can have here, if that's learning, if that's enjoying the parks, if it's I have a PEO sister who has used goat's milk to now make lotions and soaps and things. And it's just things like that I think at every twist and turn, it's an experience for me to be in this community.
Yeah, well said. Well said for sure. Anyone else want to add anything to that?
Well, for me,
I'll pipe in.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
Well, I'm probably going to steal some of your thunder, so I'll make it twofold and I'll make it fast. When it comes to Greeley, I love the Pooter Trail. And I love that it goes through a huge majority of our community, and which makes it accessible to so many people that, you know, tough day at work, run home, you change clothes, I grab my camera and I can 5 minutes away be on the trail and around nature. And I think for me, that's a huge asset to have in this community. The other thing, and you see it sitting behind Michelle, but I think one of the best events, and I love all the events that happen, but Monster Day has got to be the quirkiest, bizarre, fabulous event that I have ever been a part of. And there's a great message behind it. And it's just wonderfully weird. And I really love that it is so organic and so Greeley and Weld County, which is, you know what, just put it together and give it a try. And it's a huge event. And so that's one of my favorites.
Awesome.
Really quick to piggyback on that, Jennifer, I love that you mentioned that, because this event was born from people who own a business downtown, Distortions Unlimited. I mean, they fabricate these crazy monsters, and no, they're, you know, not a retail business, but they're amazing. And if you ever reach out to Ed and Marcia Edmonds and get the experience of Distortions, because that's also what's about Greeley and downtown, are these hidden places where people have these amazing talents, and some of them are really unique and quirky and fun, but it's just amazing to see. I'm so fascinated. I always tell I love those shows like How Things Are Made, you know, and I've always been a huge fan. I'm really sad about the Ag Day tour, but I am such a fan of going and experiencing process and manufacturing and industry. But even there's a place downtown called Magnolia River, a manufacturing, Jim Emmett, who just creates these amazing, you know, things out of wood and metal. He made the Island Grove arches and our plaza gates downtown, but he fabricates, you know, produce bins for Whole Foods and different things. So I love that we're a community of makers too. And Ed and Marcia are definitely those people as well, but also not just makers, but community minded to come forward and say, hey, we want to put on this quirky, fun event. And lo and behold, so I love that.
Definitely. Most definitely. Anybody else we missed on that question?
Well, I'll chime in really quick, and I'm going to change it just a little bit and talk more business sided. I end up with a lot of manufacturers and people in the model railroad industry and the rail industry from all over the country stopping in and visiting here. And my favorite thing is taking them to lunch, and I will walk them through a specific path through downtown that will go by art and will go by businesses. Magnolia River happens to own some rail cars, and they're actually really cool and very rare. And so I love taking people through downtown. And I think the comment that I always get from my visitors that I walk to a restaurant downtown is, wow, everybody's so nice here. Because usually I've seen 3 or 4 people I know who are like, hey, Michelle, from across the street or whatever. But even strangers that I don't know are actually super nice. And I think, kind of like what Kelli said, it's an experience when you come here. And so I would encourage businesses to take advantage of this awesome downtown that we have, and just the people of Greeley are their own experience.
Yeah, I would second that. You know, I was really struck by all of the murals immediately when I arrived here. I went around and immediately took pictures in front of a bunch of them and was like, I want to know more about this. And you know, this was a planned community with a creative district where art is valued. And I think that's really cool. And when you start to dig into some of those artist stories and you talk about the experience around those, you know, many of them were homegrown here at UNC, or, you know, have chosen to make their life here and have their gallery here, and have expanded that so that the community can enjoy their artwork. So I think that's really special. But yeah, it's hard to put your finger on anyone. You all said it well. It's a group of great storytellers about what an incredible place this is, for sure. So final questions, I'm going to kind of merge these together just for time, is how do you think we're going to interface with visitors go forward? Because I think that's the question a lot of us are looking to figure out. And then also, how maybe have you adjusted your approach and the things you traditionally did to meet them where they are? And I know a lot of you are kind of pivoting and doing new things. So a chance to tell your story there if you haven't already. So I'll pitch that out to the group.
Well, I could start with the things that we did to change here. We might have been closed, but we've been busier than ever since March 14th. Yeah. We immediately looked at our after-school programming and our youth programs and realized that they had to go virtual. And so our youth director, Misty Treffry, said, hey, let's create an online classroom. So we created what's called STEAM Kids Virtual Classroom. We had 30 kids at the end of March. We had 120 kids starting April. We had 600 kids going into June, and we sent out 785 kits to children for this month. And so it's just gone crazy for us, but wonderful. And it's a way we do an online program once a week where we create a craft with kids and teach a science lesson with it. And we've learned that families are doing it together at home, because so many families are at home together and looking for things that they can do. And so we will continue to do this program. And it's changed us from what we did to what we will do. And even when we go back to doing youth programming on site here in the building when we can, I think we'll always do this virtual classroom. And so that's been a really interesting pivot for us to do that. And then as far as the modeling community, the National Model Train Show went digital. And so we did a virtual tour of the building, and it went international. And now we have fans from all over the world because of that. And you can go online and see that. And I'm actually working with the Alzheimer's Association right now, and some other groups that work with more at-risk people right now, to create a personalized virtual tour just for their group. And we're pretty excited to do that, to bring joy to people. So we've pivoted.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I know my dad certainly felt a sense of nostalgia at the train museum about cars that he owned when he was younger. And yeah, that's amazing, all the things you're doing. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to contribute how they're kind of pivoting and doing new things?
Well, I think we have all had to learn on the fly. I think our community's done a really great job with that. And with apologies to the U.S. Marines, because their mission is kind of what we've all had to do each and every day, and that's improvise, adapt, and overcome. And I wish those days were coming to an end, but they're probably not. You know, we all do well with adversity when something has a short shelf life, but what we've certainly seen is that COVID-19 hasn't had a short shelf life, and so we've had to continue that mantra present and into the future. So things will get better. We'll get through this together, but it's not happening near as quickly as we all wish it would.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Absolutely.
I think that's such a good point too. And in seeing a lot of stories play out downtown and connecting with a lot of our businesses, it does. It very much has that sense. I think people are realizing, oh, this is a marathon. It wasn't this quick sprint where we thought, oh, let's just push. But what I've been really surprised by is, yeah, the ingenuity, the support of one another. Our downtown restaurants and bars pulled together and worked hard, and thanks to Greeley City Council, you know, pushed to pass the open consumption downtown to create more outdoor seating, to allow, you know, safe dining and outside, which was awesome. But what was really awesome about that experience is just watching them come together and figure out how to support each other. And then also seeing our businesses meet the needs of the community. Several of our distillers and breweries, you know, creating hand sanitizer and meeting needs. Magnolia River stepping up too to make face shields and different, you know, PPE equipment for businesses. It's to me, those are the stories that give me hope. And to me also, I love the analogy, and I am not a runner, but I like that analogy of, gosh, this is a long thing, but I think what gives me hope, I just had this idea, it's almost like this kind of baton passing, that when you're like, oh my goodness, I am too exhausted, I can't keep pushing, there's someone that comes alongside you in Greeley. It's like, I got this next leg, you know, here's the baton, let's keep going, we're gonna keep going, we're gonna get through this. And I love that. Like a great example downtown is we have the Crest Cinema, which I should have mentioned earlier too. What an amazing venue to have an independent theater in our community. But they have not even been able to reopen. And we have some great, you know, relationships where, you know, the owners of Luna's Tacos and Tequila had, you know, Justin from the Crest come and bartend and make drinks and to support each other and cross promote and collaborate and just lift each other up. I think that's what I love about downtown. That's what I love about Greeley is it is hard, and I don't want to downplay that. It's difficult, but I see this as a like, hey, we've got you. And when, you know, people are too tired to push, there's someone that's going to come alongside them and grab that baton.
And no question here that there is collaboration, public, private, in our business community. It's been incredible. And I want to thank everyone who's on this call today who has participated with the Chamber in those ways. We want to thank you again for your participation in helping us with the Greeley Area Recovery Fund. I want to thank the mayor for his participation in that. And in terms of the sprint or the marathon, I think that's long-term work we're going to see ourselves do, right? To make sure those businesses see this through, because they really are the heart and soul of the community. And I'm actually going to end with a quote today about travel, because each of us here welcomes those visitors. Each of us here wants to tell the story of Greeley and connect to them. And the quote I'm going to end with is, travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer. I think everyone on this call would agree with that. And also, once a year, you should go somewhere you've never been before, and we hope that's Greeley. For a lot of you watching the show, you can see all the special people on this call and a lot of the interesting things we boast as tremendous things to come and visit. So thank you to everyone who's been on the call today for all your passion for Greeley and your collaboration with our organizations. We look forward to working with you in the months to come to do some great things. So thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.